Hey, what's going on? You are back listening to the Fitness Business Life podcast. My name is Michael John Lennon, Lenny for short, of course. And on this episode, we have a very special guest. so, if you're not aware, yesterday,
Yesterday.
yesterday was my 13th wedding anniversary, and I was posting it on my socials and stuff. And I said that I was going to bring my wife Katrina on here, and so this is me getting found out. What's happening, Kat?
Not much.
So yes, Katrina's here to join me for episode number 3 of the Fitness Business Life podcast, and we're going to be talking marriage and business, marriage and fitness, marriage and kids. Because, well, I mean, I think in this day and age, 13 years is relatively successful, can we say?
Yeah, definitely is.
Yeah, so we get asked all the time how we met, and I'm sure Katrina's version is going to be slightly different to my version here, but I'm keen to hear
Well, it was caught on camera, so
it.
the truth is.
Well, I mean, prior to that wasn't caught on camera though.
Right, okay.
So basically, what Katrina's saying is what was caught on
So
camera.
basically, you fancied me for years.
Yeah, pretty much. Well,
from afar.
So one of the things we're actually going to talk about here in regards to marriage was you had said earlier on, we were actually having breakfast this morning, and you had seen a quote from someone which basically said, work on your marriage before you get married.
Yeah. Yeah, it's at the time to work on your marriage is before you get married, not when you're married.
Yeah, and we actually didn't do that.
No, we didn't.
We just kind of
got
married.
Before we knew you were meant to work your life out.
Yeah. No, but genuinely though, I did fancy you before we even got together. In fact, I'm pretty sure that I seen you. It was in like the Andersonstown News or something, and it might have actually
For
been
my
like
21st birthday.
it was something, but I seen you there, and I remember thinking,
oh, hold on. So obviously you knew who it was because my daddy.
Yeah.
You didn't just randomly see a girl in the Andytown News.
No.
I fancy her.
No.
So my daddy drank in.
Yeah.
We were working in your daddy's bar at the time.
Yeah.
And so my daddy drank there.
Yeah. So Katrina's father was frequenting my father's pub, and I knew him, and you and your sisters and stuff would have come in to see him and stayed there for a while, and you basically took no notice of me whatsoever. None whatsoever. Like you didn't even acknowledge that I existed.
Well, I acknowledge it now.
Yeah. Anyway, I knew Katrina existed and had fancied her for a while.
Do you not think that's a bit weird though?
No.
Anyway.
So I did fancy Katrina for a while, and then I'd seen her. I think I seen her in like a newspaper or something. I can't remember which birthday it was, but it was a birthday. 21st. It was her 21st, and I said, she's gonna be mine. I made a decision whenever I'd seen her in the paper, and that was probably 2 years before.
Have you seen that photo?
No, I haven't seen it recently. Do you? I want to see it again, just purely
to. Sent it to me recently.
Oh, did it?
You're not going to be impressed.
That's gonna bring back memories. That is. I want to see that. So yeah. Anyway, that happened, and then probably a couple of years later, we had sort of started chatting. I don't know how that came about. What was your version
no,
of that?
It didn't.
What happened?
Well, you went to my sister's wedding.
Yeah, but we were kind of talking briefly before that, were we not?
No. Oh yeah, were we? Yeah, we were. I was working the whiteboard as a waitress. And you were in drunk.
You were working as a waitress in a cocktail bar, but there must have been something before even that.
Can't remember.
I don't know, but anyway, yeah. So I then proceeded to go to Katrina's sister's wedding. Got extremely drunk, and
basically, Gypsy grabbed me on the dance floor, and it was caught on camera.
Yep. It's
And the
called,
rest is history.
yeah, and you weren't happy either. Like, I mean,
Well, I mean, I obviously was.
but you weren't really showing it. Um, and then we kind of, yeah. So after that, I sort of ditched you for a few days, and you weren't happy, and you kind of like come. It then came full circle because you then came into the bar looking for me.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't want him to go. Um, what attracted you to me in the beginning?
Your ears.
And now they're all bashed up and shit
I
from
know.
jiu-jitsu, so you're
And now
like,
you
I
have
hate him.
cauliflower ears.
I'm doing nothing to maintain that attractiveness
Your
in for God's
shoulders and your white shirt. Like that too.
Oh, okay.
Like
Nice.
a shoulder.
Good shoulder.
Still like your shoulders, not your ears anymore.
I think the ears have massively improved.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I was attracted to everything, not just one part.
Okay.
And then we kind of
moved really quickly. Then.
We moved really quickly, so we actually didn't kind of leave each other's side for like weeks.
Yeah, and then we moved in together after 6 months.
Is that how quickly it was? 6 months.
Yeah, and then we got engaged after a year and a half.
Jeez.
And then we got married another year and a half later. So within 3 years, we were married.
Crazy.
And we did not have a clue about life.
I know. Like I see photos and stuff of us now, like on our honeymoon, and I'm just like, we were kids.
I know.
Like we were 26.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
I know.
And then so fast forward a couple of years, few years actually, we bought the house.
Yeah.
And then we found out we were expecting Oliver coming along.
Yeah.
And
so obviously during all that time I was working in the health service as a secretary. Well, clerical assistant, receptionist, yeah, different roles. And you were managing your daddy's pub.
Mm.
And then, yeah. We decided, I wonder, should we have a baby? And within a month, it was like, we're actually having a baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
We were very lucky there. Like,
yeah, that
didn't take too long.
That was a shock. I actually remember you telling me, and I was upstairs in the was to be the first gym, knocking down walls with PJ.
After I told you?
Well, no, we were knocking down walls, and you rang me and told me.
Oh, right, okay.
And then I was like, this is crazy, and then continued knocking down walls. Now at that stage as well, oh my God, not only did we not really have a clue what we were doing, because like we were like relatively fresh into marriage. Kind of fresh.
No. Well, Oliver's what? I suppose like Oliver's 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, about a year and a half.
Mm-hmm. And so that was still kind of fresh. And then I decided to go and open a gym.
Yeah.
Leave my job, which put probably a lot of stress on everyone.
Well, probably mostly you.
Yeah, mostly me. Actually, I think I remember like there was other sort of drivers and stuff there, but I think I remember that happening, and what I was doing on that day, which was creating some sort of facility to because I wanted to create a better life for us, because I was like, well, what I'm doing right now is not gonna help us live the type of life that we want to live. So I need to do something different. And then I think as you rang me and said, we're expecting, then that was just like the other trigger that was like, right, burn the boats. I'm going to keep going here. Like there was no going back then.
Yeah.
And then again, it was all a bit of a blur from in Oliver's from Oliver was born till he was about one, because then straight
Mm-hmm.
away we were expecting Charlie as well.
Yeah, 16 months Oliver was.
Yeah, and I remember thinking, because well, for a year and a bit we had just Oliver there, and I was like,
Yeah,
nah, it's not just Oliver anymore,
I know.
and that's going to be a weird thing. And then I remember working and doing nothing else but working, and
Yeah, and
I
I
remember.
remember feeding a baby and doing nothing else but feeding a baby for hours on end every
Yeah.
day.
And I remember I actually always share the story now. So you coming down to the gym one day, absolutely crying your lamps out, probably 7, 8 months pregnant with Charlie. And it was because I was non-stop. Like,
Working.
yeah.
I know. It was brutal. It was hard.
What was I thinking?
Well, you were thinking, I'm going to build a better life here.
Yeah.
When my wife is demented in the house. But it was fine at the time because I was working for the health service. So I was on
Mm,
maternity leave for 6 months, and it wasn't fine. But it was fine in comparison to what it would be now,
mm,
because I'm trying to run a business as well.
yeah.
So it was just, you had your role, I had my role, and we just kept going until we came out the other end.
Yeah, I suppose that would be hard for, because, like, again, in my own personal experience, I work with and coach a lot of people who, you know, they're in relationships where maybe, let's say, their partner isn't, maybe works like a basic 9 to 5, and then they can't really grasp why do you have to
Mm,
work all of these hours? Why can't you just walk away? Maybe they've got kids as well, and they're like, uh, you need to sacrifice everything that you're doing for the kids, because that's what I've done.
yeah, but then that's where I see it as different, the way I look at it and the way
Yeah,
you look at it. But
as
we
in
know
what way?
that, so that's okay.
Yeah.
Well, your way of like sacrificing everything for the kids is to do all you can to provide for them
Mm.
financially. My way is being there and looking after them, raising them and feeding them and doing everything else in the background so that you can go and do all that.
Yeah. And I was like, I remember.
And I raised our kids very well.
I know
They're
you did.
very
I know.
good children.
I'm extremely grateful for how you raised our kids. Like, and I suppose for anyone listening, we were talking about this today. Like, a lot of the time, people, you only see the highlight reels from other families, and I tell this story all the time. Like, I actually remember going home at Christmas with -5 grand in the bank and nothing coming in. So it's not like I was -5 grand and there was a substantial payment coming in on January 1st. I was -5 grand and that was it.
Yeah, nice.
Um, I know, and it's like I remember thinking, I am supposed to be the provider here in this scenario. Like, I'm actually the one that's out working to provide, and you were still working in the hospital.
Yeah, well, I was on maternity, but that was the times when it was frustrating.
Yeah.
And I can remember saying this to you, like, you're working all these hours and there's no, like, we're not living the high life.
Hmm.
And that's where it got really frustrating, where I
Yeah.
couldn't kind of understand it. But I still understood it, but it was just like, go back and work for your daddy.
Yeah, I know. And like, to be fair, I think I actually remember, like, we didn't. I don't think we went on holiday. Now, I suppose it just coincided with the kids being young
Yeah, we
as
didn't.
well. But the time in which we were pregnant, we didn't go, and then when the kids were like babies and
No, I think our
toddlers,
first foreign holiday was, they were 4 and 5 or something.
Portugal. So that was like 5 years
And
later.
then we came back and said we're never going on holiday again, because
Yeah.
it wasn't a holiday. 2 kids in a hotel room, just, yeah, it was not a holiday. We needed a holiday when we came back.
And I suppose, like, the kids are, we're talking, Oliver is 11, Charlie's 9.
Yeah.
And now at this stage, I suppose, like, we both run businesses. So you left the Royal Hospital
Yeah.
and decided to become a trainer because you were like, I can do exactly
Well,
what you can do.
I left the Royal to come and do admin, which is
Yes.
what I was good at
Yes.
in your gym.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. And then I decided, because I loved my own training so much, which I started just after Charlie. So 6 weeks, Charlie was 6 weeks, and I started training, doing a wee bit at home and stuff. Going down to the gym once a week.
Well, you were kind of training before the kids as well, but just nothing.
Nothing, not strength training, nothing substantial. It was like
doing me classes here and there. Yeah. And so then you worked in the gym for a little while, and then you ditched us.
Yeah. Well, COVID.
Well, COVID did happen, but
COVID happened.
oh well, COVID happened.
COVID happened. I was still running me online boot camps.
Oh yeah, that's right. So you were
during COVID.
I actually forgot about that.
Yeah, I had my girls on 7 o'clock every morning, torturing them all via Zoom.
I mean, I don't know how like any of the listeners felt during lockdown and stuff, but I mean, we were quite fortunate because we moved house just before it.
We had just moved, and we had loads of space.
Yeah, we had loads of space. Like 2 months, I think, before lockdown.
No, well, we moved in September, and then lockdown was March. So we were here a few months with Christmas and stuff out of the way, and then
yeah, that's right. So, well, I suppose COVID kind of happened at the end of that year, so there was things in like January and February,
but
sort of coming out, but lockdown didn't actually happen. So yeah, we had moved in, and COVID happened, and
we were meant to go to Iceland.
That's right. Yeah, so we had flights booked the very day before that. It was actually on the weekend, so whatever day it was.
We collected the kids from school.
We were supposed to go to Iceland the next morning, and there was cases there, and then they were talking about people flying and everything.
So we just decided not.
And we decided not to go, and it just so happened that there was an issue with the actual flight as well.
Right. One of your students.
One of my students who is a firefighter at the airport came back to me and asked me, was I on the flight to Iceland? And I was like, no.
They all got disembarked off.
It was a live round found on the flight. God knows how that got there.
We were not meant to be in Iceland.
Yeah, it ended up, she had said that there was only one person who flew to Iceland. The kids, God love them, they were looking forward to it forever.
They still talk about it.
I know.
We owe them a trip
to Iceland. We're going to have to get that sorted. And so then during lockdown, how then did you end up opening a pole studio?
Well, I think the kind of fitness thing. So I knew I really enjoyed helping women get fit and strong, but some of the stuff I just couldn't deal with, like nutrition, and because I'm a bit like you when it comes to nutrition, just eat your protein and don't just everything in moderation. Whereas I think a lot of women, it's a bit more complex than that because they don't think that that's how it's done, and it's like they need more, and I just couldn't deal with that. So I just thought I wasn't helping as much as I could have in being a coach, a trainer. And I had obviously been pole dancing for years. I loved it. I knew how much it helped me after I had the kids. And during lockdown, I was doing a lot of online stuff. And then I just decided I'll do my teacher training. I had my pole in the house, and I was actually just planning on maybe just teaching some people from home. And then I don't know, like why I just decided to go on view. You had seen something. Do you remember?
I seen somewhere, yeah, because you were sort of talking about it.
Should open a studio, should not.
I think again, for anyone that knows me, if someone comes up with an idea and they're like, "What do you think?" I'm like, "Let's go, let's do it."
So it was, I think during lockdown, then there was the opportunity to have a Zoom call with Invest NI, and they helped me with a business plan, and then that property down in Candy Way just was there, and it was appeared. Perfect.
Yeah.
So
So I bought your first pole classes way back in the day.
Yeah, you did.
Got you started. Got
the
studio.
All the credit
it's pretty much all my hard work that the studio is where it is today.
It is all your hard. Well, I have to say, obviously, all the stuff that you had done pre-COVID, going to America, all that stuff.
Yeah.
obviously
Did
then
help.
really helped me
Yeah.
because you were able to just advise me, here's how to run a business. You'd never run a pole studio before, but you knew how to run a business.
Yeah, there was
So
crossovers.
yeah, so I knew obviously the struggles that we'd had at the start of you running a business. I did not want that to happen to me. So for once in my life, I listened to you, took your advice, and yeah, it's just great. I mean, was meant to open in January 2021. I sold out on, do you remember the Black Friday?
Yeah, that's right.
Even though we were still in lockdown.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then places started opening up again, and then the Boxing Day lockdown hit, and I couldn't open then in the January. But everyone that signed up with me, bar one
Carried
person,
over. Yeah.
waited until May, sorry.
Crazy.
I know.
And that was just because you were like, all you had done up until that point was really just post videos of you training pole, and that was it. And loads of people were engaging with it. And
I was talking on camera at that stage as well, because you got me to do it during my course and stuff. So I was able to just tell people what pole was about and what it had done for me, and then I think because it's so visual as well, a lot of people just got really interested in it.
Yeah. When you mentioned America, like one of the things that I'll never forget was whenever I was going there, because again, that was a stress on us as well.
That was because like when you told me the amount of money you were paying Craig Valentine.
Yeah. Because I was traveling to
like,
America.
What are you doing?
I know, like 3 and 4 times a year sometimes, because there was like different events going on. And I remember the kids as well, because this was me obviously investing in coaching and mentorship and and accountability as well. And I remember leaving one time, and both the kids like coming over to me and just crying.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, why am I doing this? Like these two don't want me to go. Like I'm their, I'm their father figure, and I'm fucking ditching to America for 5 days. And
but our Oliver always took it hard, because he always, when you weren't here, he always kind of thought he had to be like he would have slept in bed beside me and all, my protector, because he's the oldest in the house. Yeah. Whereas now it's fine because Lenny's here.
The dogs.
Lenny protects everything.
Speaking of marriage, is it very nearly ended whenever I brought Lenny home?
Oh, don't even talk to me about Lenny. That's literally the only time where I can genuinely say I would have left you, quite honest.
Oh,
and you recorded it and put it all over Instagram. Nearly the downfall of our marriage. Because we're a pretty good team. Like we would talk and agree on stuff. Well, usually I just say it how it is and you agree. But that, I don't know where you grew the balls that day.
Oh God!
Fair play to you.
Well, here, it's like I don't think you could live without him now. Like,
no, I definitely
could. Lenny will look after us when I'm away.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's kind of pretty much the journey up until now. The kids are up.
Well, they're up. They're 9 and 11, but it feels like
they look after themselves.
Independent.
They're independent. They feed themselves. Well, kind of.
Breakfast. Breakfast.
And they are genuinely 2 great kids, 2 great, 2 little troopers, 2 little terrorists, might I add, because they have me absolutely like terrorized. Because I can't even say anything to them. Like I'll ask them a serious question, and the 2 of them just bust out laughing in my face. And I'm like, I suppose the thing is on that front, you're pretty stern with them.
Yeah.
And so they tend to take you less seriously because you're stern with them all the time.
Stern all the time.
Well, you know what I mean. I mean,
yes, I have
get them to school and all that. So
that's not being stern. That's making sure that they do with life.
Yeah. No, I get that. So sometimes you'll be shouting. You'll be the one that's shouting all over the house at 8 a.m. in the morning, whereas I'm kind of just sitting there on my laptop, quiet, drinking coffee, and
in your own world.
In my own world, just chilling, nothing going on. But I think, and because I'm not the one that's running about shouting all over the house, whenever I do, then crack up at them a little bit, then they kind of listen because we're
Yeah,
already there.
because I have to then say, I'm sending daddy in.
Yeah. So yeah, just that's good cap, bad cap on the kids.
Yeah.
Um. So yeah, that's it up until now. If what would you, for let's say any young couples out there now? I'm gonna say young. We're 40 in June.
Hold on, we're not 40 yet.
In June.
In June. Yeah.
So for some young couples out there now, maybe just starting out in their relationship, maybe thinking about getting married, thinking about having kids, thinking about running a business. What advice would you give them to manage all of that chaos and come out the other end of it in a positive light, I suppose?
Well, they obviously need to know each other's goals, because if they're both planning on running a business and they both want kids, then like to me, that would just be a minefield. I wouldn't even know where to begin there. I think for us, it was like we both wanted kids, but I was quite happy to just be at home with the kids. And you were quite happy to go and run the business. And that was okay. Yes, a few times it was like, oh, this is stressful, but there was never any resentment there. Like I never resented the fact that you were doing that. And I'm sure you never resented the fact that I was sitting in the house.
Definitely not.
So yeah, I think you just need to definitely discuss where it's going in the future, like what it looks like, what the future looks like. Because if two people are running a business and there's a baby then comes along and the man feels like, I'm the man, I don't mind the baby, but the woman's also trying to run a business, then there's big issues there.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. I mean, fucking hell. Even I suppose for like anyone that's single, and I was actually talking to like a group of students about this the other day. I honestly don't know how today people can do that shit. Like I really don't. Like I'm just
Do what?
just like
Dating?
Yeah, just that process. It just seems
Swiping?
Swiping, yeah. It just seems so much more messed up. And again, it was like 15 years ago, 16 years ago when you and I started going out. So they're like, all right, Facebook was there, but
you weren't even on Facebook.
I wasn't even on Facebook, no. So I mean,
it was definitely just meeting someone out and then texting them.
Yeah, because like you had to like at least connect with someone in real time and get a feel for them in real time.
Yeah.
Or feel them in real time.
In your case.
In my case.
Yeah, don't do that.
But like, I don't know now today.
Illegal, he says.
I know. Like it's definitely like you didn't hear that on this podcast. Yeah, just now it just seems like so much harder. Even though it's easier. Because all you need to do is like swipe right or left.
I know,
or how can you message someone or whatever.
Just a photo.
Yeah.
Like
it's catfishing. People's catfishing each other, and it's easier, but at the same time, it's created a lot more chaos. Have you ever had a look
on a Tinder?
No, I actually haven't.
I did.
Right. Okay. No. What did you find on there?
It wasn't for myself. It was my friends. But I just asked her to show me her Tinder, and then I was going, "Oh, he's okay," and she was just like, "No." She was just swiping them all.
Right.
And some of them I thought were alright, but she obviously has different taste than me.
Obviously.
But she was just savage. So it's like, how are you meant to meet someone if you're such a savage?
Yeah, she was just Jesus. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I feel for the sort of younger generation in that sense, because I honestly don't know like.
Well, I mean, they could just come and do your course. How many couples have you matchmade?
Yeah, in fairness, like we have quite a number of young
past students,
20+-year-olds who have all met each other. And I mean, that, I suppose, like, if I was to look at it, I would be like, well, that's probably, if you're gonna try to find love, well then go to
the environment,
which will dictate your outcome. Yeah, because it's like, all right, whenever so here's the thing as well, right? So whenever we met, we were out like partying together, and all my
Mhm.
friends were all partying together, and like we were having parties in the house.
Yeah.
We were both like working in just basic day jobs and stuff.
We had time to party.
We had time to party, and then um, we had the so I suppose we connected in a sense, and that not really knowing them, but we there was similar values, and then we had the kids, and then
Well, that's
whenever
the thing as well, because our values changed
yes,
together.
yeah,
Whereas some people maybe would meet when they're younger and then their values would change, but they would be completely different.
yep,
And that's where you then find that people will start to
drift
drift
off.
apart. But ours changed together. Like, we hardly drink anymore. Do you know, we both train a lot. You would always been really into your training. I wasn't overly. But obviously I am now.
Picked that up whenever you met me.
Yeah, well, basically, you took me up Cape Hill and all running. Never done that in my life.
Yeah.
You read exercise classes in the Dockers I used to go to.
Yeah. Because again, you do see people that maybe they do connect on that front, and they're going out a couple of years, and then one of them decides, I don't really like living life like this here, and maybe they go on some sort of fitness journey or change their career or start to question how they're living their life, and then the other person is just happy doing what they're doing, and then they tend to
so then it's all gone wrong.
drift off. Would you say that it is better to wait until you're older to try to find the one, or do you need to like test? Do you need to test the waters essentially? Like, do you need to go through that in order to know what's right? You need to know what's right and what's wrong.
It just depends.
Yeah.
Because look at all, like, we met when we were younger.
Yeah.
Just what we've just said there, you're drinking, but then our values change together. Whereas I think sometimes maybe if you wait till you're older, it's harder, because then you're going to have such a list of things. You're going to know what type of person you want at that stage.
Yeah.
And you're going to have such a list of stuff that's like, if I don't get this, I am out of there. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like,
you'll be
time
like,
is ticking.
yeah, you'll be.
I'm speaking from a woman's perspective.
Yeah.
If a woman wants kids, her time is ticking.
Right.
It's different for a man.
And
have kids when they're
the thing is, like, you'll be set in your ways as well if you're.
And then it's harder to let someone in, isn't it? If you're set.
Jesus, like I feel for people who are younger. I feel for people who are older trying to get into relationships. It's fucking hard.
I know. You're so lucky. You found me.
Yeah, I genuinely am. I'm extremely fortunate on that front.
And that's another thing that obviously it comes down to. Then it's the respect of each other, and knowing that, like, knowing how good we both are for each other and respecting that as well.
Yeah, so I've been for the last couple of years. Then obviously, like I said, the kids are up now, and I mean, I was generally like coasting in business, and every so often I decide to just fucking go apeshit and just try to, like, not try to change everything. I do change everything. And then, so for the last couple of years, we've had the franchise, which has placed a lot of stress again on everyone. And we've had the events, the ECA Summit, and all of that on top of your business going on. But to be fair, like, I could have done it at a far worse time, or at worse times.
Oh, could you?
Yeah.
Like when?
I mean, I could have left it until it was too late, or I could have done it too early. I think it was around about the right time to be taking on the amount of work that the two of us do at this stage. And again, I think it's also it's important that, so me having done that, for the last number of years, and you're how many years into the studio now?
I'll be 3 in May.
3, right? So, I mean, you're balls deep in work right now as well.
Yeah.
And so I know what it takes to do that. And so I respect that as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Whereas again, I don't think some people, first of all, know what it takes to be running a business and being in a relationship at the same time. But then even if they do know, they're like, and I don't want to say it's selfish, but you can kind of get caught up in your own story where you're
Yeah.
like, oh, this has to be all about me and everything else, and then you're unwilling to then let the person do what they need to do
Yeah.
to.
I know, but then on the other side of that, because
Yeah.
obviously you had to, because I'm working like out in the evenings now,
Mm-hmm.
so then you had to really change how you were doing things because you
Oh,
had to start putting a wash on,
yeah,
making the dinner, dropping the kids to football.
yeah,
Which to me, I always felt guilty about at the start. And like it was a massive changeover for the both of us because you weren't used to doing all that stuff.
uh-huh.
And to me, that stuff comes so easy. Whereas to you, it's like an extra job.
Yeah.
So that was a struggle. But I think we're good now, aren't we?
Yeah, I actually did.
You still shouldn't be doing washing because you don't know.
To be fair, like
how it works.
I am on top of that.
No, you're not.
So I kind of touched on this here, right? One thing that I suppose I just kind of roll my eyes at a little bit is people who display a different type of relationship on social media than what they actually have in person.
Yeah.
Right. And again, like, I suppose they look around and feel like they have to put on some sort of show to validate their relationship. Now, so I was actually thinking about this today. Like, you and I genuinely, I think I could count on my hand the amount of proper arguments that we've had throughout the years.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we've never really had,
No.
like
I say, the only one that would come to mind for me was the Lenny one. And it wasn't even an argument. It was just me storming out of the house and not coming back for a full day. But yeah, I mean, we would have discussions.
Yeah.
Disagreements where then you just end up agreeing with me.
Yeah, I just end up accepting that you're right
Yeah.
and I'm wrong and I was stupid about it. Because let's face it, you know, as a man, I do stupid shit. Right? I don't read the instructions on anything. Right? I was just like, I'll figure it out myself. I'll put it up myself. Whereas you will investigate all the instructions.
Everything.
You'll investigate everything. But anyway.
So yeah, the if we're talking about flat pack furniture, that's not my job.
Yeah.
You're not allowed near.
Okay, so it's like, know what you're good at and accept what you're wrong with.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I suppose there are people who like portray this.
Well, I actually thought you were going to say there you could count on your hand how many times we've posted each other on our Instagram.
Yeah, well,
because it's very few.
We kind of do that on, like, we done it yesterday for our anniversary, and
but it's not like we're constantly.
Yeah, it's like,
you know.
I'll wish you happy birthday to your face, and we'll go for dinner.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's not that we're bombarding the world with that. And again, some people do and are in an extremely happy relationship, and you know, show that all over the place. But like, how many times have you seen people, and it's almost like they're just masking their true reality, where they're and they feel like they have to show something completely different to the rest of the world to validate their relationship. And you know, posting all of these pictures, which is my love, my darling, my forever.
I know.
And next thing you know,
they're split up, and like, and then that's all over social media as well. All the drama surrounding
it, and it's like, hold on, what just happened there?
I know.
You know, like again, these things happen. Relationships break down. I always tell people there's basically 5 love languages. So you've got gift giving, you've got acts of service, you've got quality time, touch, and words of affirmation.
Yeah.
Right. And so what happens is, whenever relationships break down, it's because people aren't speaking their love languages. And by the way, Katrina's is quality time first and foremost. Acts of service as well.
Yeah. Like you putting the bins out for me.
Yeah, mine's is just touch.
Yeah.
And words of affirmation. Yes.
You are amazing, big lad.
Yep. And so what happens is relationships just break down. And like we've discussed, like, values change and people change, and they sometimes don't change together and they go separate ways. And that's like, it's just part of life. But then at the same time, accept it for that. And you don't need to justify your relationship to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Like, if it works, good, keep going. It's there for both people. Like, the relationships exists to help both people live their life in a way that they want to live it. It's not so that the rest of the world sees the relationship and basically you don't need permission to.
Like let the rest of the world please approve of me.
Yeah, you
please
don't
approve of us.
Please,
like,
yeah, that was the word I was looking for. You don't need approval from the rest of the world for your relationship. It's like if you're happy, get on with it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to wrap it up here, but what would be your final piece of advice for, let's say, from a woman's perspective,
On what?
on supporting their partner? Like, what are some of the things that, and again, from a mother's perspective, from a woman's perspective, like, what are some of the things that you feel like maybe you made mistakes on? All right, nothing. Nothing. Or what would you say that you done right, and you would suggest that other women learn from?
Well, I don't think I really would say other women should learn from me, but I think for us, we were just lucky. Again, I'll say it, in that I was quite a maternal person. Like when we had kids, I was quite maternal. I wanted to stay at home, feed the babies. Well, I slowly regretted that when I got sick when I was breastfeeding Oliver. But yeah, it was just, we kind of knew our roles, really. I think when you kind of know your role and you agree on stuff, then it just makes life a lot easier. But also, obviously, respecting each other's roles. It wasn't like you're saying, oh, she's in the house with the kids because that's where she belongs. It was like, she's in the house with the kids because this is what we've agreed on and this is how we're going forward.
Yeah.
Where I think sometimes, especially these days, because obviously there's a lot of women that are like, I don't want to be in the house with the kids, I want to be out working. But then the man's saying, well, that's where you should be.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think it can just get very, very confused. The roles can get very confused, and maybe that leads to extra stress on a relationship.
Yeah, the dynamics today have changed.
We would be very old school.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying we're right because we're old school, but it's right for us.
Yeah.
And I do think that has helped us obviously grow in our relationship and be together so long. Because then when I decided, well, I'm going to open a business, then you were able to step in and go, okay, well, now I'm going to be in the house making the dinner because there's no choice. Unless you're going to hire a chef. But yeah, so.
Nice. Okay. So if you are getting into a relationship, and by the way, like, the person you choose to marry is probably the biggest business decision you'll make in your life as well. I've said this here quite often, like, if and final closing thoughts on this here, love is like a fart. If you have to force it, it's probably shit. So, if you're getting into some sort of relationship and you feel like you have to force it at this point in time, and in future it's not going to work well, your values are going to collide, I would always offer my own personal advice on this here and say, just think long and hard about your relationships and ask yourself, how is it going to look in 5 years, 10 years? And
yeah. Well, I always say, that's what I would always say as well, like the person you're going home to, or what goes on in your four walls at home is the most important. Like, that's the most important relationship in your life. Because if you're going home to arguing and stress and you've just left your business and you're stressed, then you're just going to be stressed on top of stress.
Yeah.
So yeah, it all starts at home. Happiness needs to be there. Otherwise, yeah, your life's just going to be like a fart.
Love is like a fart. If you have to force it, it's probably shit.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. As always, if you got value from this here, please share it with a friend who needs to hear. Bye.
Bye. How long did we talk for?
44 minutes.
Right. What do you have to do now?
It's just